you for joining us today. Our devotional quest of spending summer in the Psalms has brought us to Psalm chapter 11 today. And while the timing of the psalm leaves some room for debate, its authorship is without question. It's entered into the hymn book of the Hebrews as simply a Psalm of David. It was obviously written during a time of struggle and turmoil in its life, and I don't want to waste time on conjecture today. I want to go directly to the words of the text itself. So let's set the stage by reading these first three verses together this morning. In Psalm chapter 11, verse 1, and the title is simply, "To the Chief Musician, a Psalm of David. In the Lord put I my trust. How say ye to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain? For lo, the wicked bend their bow. They make ready their arrow upon the string, that they may privily shoot at the upright of heart. If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do?" Now, it's that question presented in verse 3 that has my attention here this morning. They tell me that the word translated foundations in the Hebrew text literally meant the settled order of things. If the settled order of things be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Wow. How familiar does that feel in the world that we're living in today? What can the righteous do when your world has been turned upside down? I think the answer lies within the text of this psalm. So let's look at that. Number one, what can the righteous do? Our faith must be confessed. Look at that first clause, or first part of verse 1, and see David's declaration. In the Lord put I my trust. It's something of which we need to be reminded this morning. Where is your trust today? My confidence is not in men. It's not in money. It's not in movements. It's not in monuments of what used to be. In the Lord put I my trust. It's not in my friends. It's not in my family. It's not in my feelings. And it's not even in my faith. In the Lord put I my trust. It's fitting that David made that declaration, for verses 2 and 3 show us a little bit about the dilemma that he faced here. We see the cunning of his foes. We see the counsel of his friends. Look at verse 2. For lo, the wicked bend their bow. They make ready their arrow upon the string, that they may privily shoot at the upright in heart. Now, the outright attacks of the enemy are obvious. But here it seems that David's foes were waiting in ambush. He had no idea when or where the attack was coming. And then his friends seem to be giving him advice. How say ye to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain? Evidently, they're trying to get him to get out while the getting's good. David, you need to get away. If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? If the accepted order of things is turned upside down, how do you know what to do? David, you're fighting a losing battle. But we go back to verse 1 again and hear David's determination. In the Lord put I my trust. How say ye to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain? How can you even say such a thing? If God or a mountain are my only choices, I choose God. I refuse to surrender my trust in God because there are things in life that I do not understand. It's the faith of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the face of the furnace. If it be so, our Lord is able to deliver. But if not, we're still not bound. There's no alternative. The furnace is of no consequence. Our faith is not contingent on our deliverance. Wow. We do not trust God because of what he may or may not do. James Chalmers was a missionary to the Scottish missionary to the South Sea Islands in the late 1800s, around the 1901. He said this at the end of his life: recall the 21 years. Give me back all of its experience. Give me back its shipwrecks. Give me its standings in the face of death. Give me it surrounded with savages, with spears and clubs. Give it back to me with spears flying about me, with the club knocking me to the ground. Give it me back, and I will still be your missionary. In the Lord put I my trust. How say ye to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain? And now that we spent all this time setting the context, let me move quickly to the second thought. For when our world is turned upside down, our faith must be confessed, but there are facts that must be considered. Let's walk through verses 4, 5, and 6 and consider the facts that we find there. Number one, where God sits. The Lord, verse 4, the Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven. Do not forget that God is still on the throne. The heavens still rule. When our Uzziahs die and the throne is empty, God still sits on the throne of the universe. But not only where God sits, also what God sees. His eyes behold, his eyelids try the children of men. Now that reference to the eyelids of God is very interesting to me. When we want to look at something closely or very intently, we narrow our eyes. We squint our eyes. We close our field of vision because we're focusing on that one thing that's directly in front of us. So when David sings of the eyelids of God, what he's reminding himself that far from being disinterested, far from being forgetful and unknowing of what's going on in his life, the Lord had narrowed his eyes and was taking a sharp look at David's situation. Where God sits and what God sees, and then in 5 and 6 we see what God sends. The Lord trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence his soul hateth. Upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire, brimstone, and a horrible tempest. This shall be the portion of their cup. Can I just remind you today that God saw it, God sees it, and God will take care of it. What should the righteous do? Or what can the righteous do when the world is turned upside down? Our faith must be confessed. The facts must be considered. And lastly, God's faithfulness must be our comfort. Verse 7, for the righteous Lord loveth righteousness. His countenance doth behold the upright. Present circumstances may be bitter. They are. But the future's blessed. We shall see his face. It's the crowning bliss of glory. It's the truth that became very precious to David here, and it's been immortalized in that lovely hymn of William Cowper from 1774, and we'll close with that today. God moves in mysterious ways. God moves in a mysterious way. He has wonders to perform. He plants his footsteps in the sea and rides on every storm. Deep in unfathomable minds of never-failing skill, he treasures up his bright designs and works his sovereign will. Ye fearful saints, fresh courage take. The clouds ye so much dread are big with mercy and shall break in blessings o'er your head. Judge not the Lord by feeble sense, but trust him for his grace. Behind a frowning providence, he hides a smiling face. His purposes will ripen fast, unfolding every hour. The bud may have a bitter taste, but sweet will be the flower. Blind unbelief is sure to err and scan his work in vain. God is his own interpreter, and he will make it plain. I end with the words of Brother Randy Webb. It'll all work out in the end. And if it ain't working out, it ain't the end. God bless you this morning.